Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putri Zaida Nabila, and in this video, I would like to present my prospective research proposal entitled Exploring EFL Students' Perception of Speaking Anxiety and Their Motivation to Communicate in English Classroom. This study used a qualitative approach to explore students' experiences and perceptions regarding speaking anxiety and motivation. First, let me explain the background of this study. Speaking is one of the most important skills in learning English because it allows students to communicate their ideas and opinions. However, many EFL students still experience difficulties when speaking English in the class. Many students feel nervous, shy, and afraid of making mistakes. They worry about pronunciation, grammar, and negative evaluation from others. These feelings are called speaking anxiety. Besides anxiety, motivation also plays an important role in language learning. Motivation encourages students to participate and communicate in English. Students who have a strong motivation are usually more willing to speak even when they feel nervous. Previous studies mostly examine speaking anxiety and motivation separately. Therefore, there is still a research gap in exploring both speaking anxiety and motivation together from students' perception. Because of that, this study aims to understand students' experience more deeply through a qualitative approach. Next, I would like to explain the aims of this study. The first is to explore EFL students' perception of speaking anxiety in English classroom. The second is to identify the factors that motivate students to communicate in English. The third is to understand how speaking anxiety influences students' motivation to communicate. And the last is to describe students' experience and challenges during speaking activities. The next part is the significance of the study. Theoretically, this study is expected to contribute to the literature related to speaking anxiety in motivation in EFL context. Practically, this study can benefit students, teachers, and future researchers. For students, this study may help them understand their anxiety and improve their confidence. For teachers, it can provide information to create a more supportive classroom environment, and for future researchers, this study can become a reference for similar studies. Next, I will explain the research question. There are 4 research questions in this study. The first one is, how do EFL students perceive speaking anxiety in English classroom? The second is, what factor motivate EFL student to communicate in English classroom? Third is, how does speaking anxiety influence students' motivation to communicate? And the last is, how do students describe their experience during speaking activities? Next, the participants of this study are undergraduate students from the English Education Department. Approximately 10 to 15 6-semester students will participate in this study. The participants will be selected using purposive sampling because they have experienced various speaking activities and are willing to share their experience. So next is a method of data collection. This study used a qualitative approach. The main instrument is a semi-structured interview. The interviews will help the researchers understand students' feelings, experience, and perceptions related to speaking anxiety and motivation. The interviews will last approximately 20 to 30 minutes. The researcher will also use open-ended questions to obtain more detailed information. Finally, the data will be analyzed using thematic analysis. First, the interviews will be transcribed. The researcher will read the data carefully. Then third, important statements related to anxiety and motivation will be coded. After that, similar code will be grouped into themes. And finally, the researcher will interpret the findings and draw conclusion based on the participants' experiences. In conclusion, this study aims to explore EFL students' perception of speaking anxiety and their motivation to communicate in English classroom. It's expected to provide useful information for students, teachers, and future researchers. Thank you for your attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.